Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon again, and thanks for joining our application information webinar. Again, my name is Greg and I'll be your moderator for this afternoon's webinar. Welcome. First, we'd like to cover a couple of administrative notes. If you're using a phone line, make sure your audio is linked back. If you do get dropped off of our Zoom call, please feel free to dial back in. All of you are automatically muted upon entry. Do not worry though, you will have an opportunity to ask questions through our Q&A feature at the end of our session. After our formal presentation by Ms. Alexis Shade, you will have an opportunity to ask questions through the Q&A feature. Now I'd like to go ahead and introduce our two speakers this afternoon. We have our very own Naval Component Liaison, Ms. Alexis Shade, who will give the formal presentation this afternoon, and Ms. Dima Kalnin, who's our communications specialist, will be joining her in the Q&A portion of this afternoon's webinar. With that being said, we'd like to take a quick moment to reach out and do a poll just to find out some more information about you all. So with that being said, we're gonna launch a poll. If you could go ahead and answer the poll that is on your screen, we would definitely appreciate that. That's very interesting, Alexis. We have an overwhelming amount of students that look like have joined us here this afternoon, quite a few through website, and almost a tie with email as well. We still have a lot of votes that are filtering in. It looks like about 82% of folks are students. An overwhelming majority is through email, but the second is website. Great, thank you everybody for doing that. Share the results. With that being said, Alexis, over to you.
Awesome, thank you so much, Greg. Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Alexis Shade. I am the Naval Liaison for the Smart Scholarship Program. And today we have a wonderful presentation for you. But before we begin, we have one more poll in which I am very interested in hearing from you all. How many of you have heard from the Smart Scholarship or have heard of the Smart Scholarship Program before? And if you have heard of us, where did you find us from? So there will be a quick poll on your screen again. Have you heard of us? And if so, how? All right. Oh, great. It's about 73% of you have heard of our program before. So thanks for tuning in, for finding out a little bit more information. And those of you who are just hearing about us for the first time, again, thank you for joining us today. Pretty equal distribution there from word of mouth and from our website and other social media platforms. So again, just want to give you a very warm welcome. Hope everyone is staying safe out there. We have a formal presentation for you on what SMART is. And let's go ahead and get started. So what is SMART? The Science, Mathematics, and Research for Transformation Scholarship for Service program has a mission to enhance the DoD civilian workforce with innovative scientists, engineers, and researchers from across the United States. Our vision is to create a highly skilled DoD STEM workforce that competes with the dynamic trends in technology and innovation to protect national security. So in today's presentation, we're going to go through a few more of our eligibility requirements, some of our benefits. We're going to take a little bit of look at statistics from our most recent cohort, in addition to doing a deep dive into the application process itself, and also some helpful tips on how to stand out with your SMART application. So let's go ahead and dive in with our eligibility requirements. There we go. Okie doke. So the application is open every 1st of August through the 1st of December of every award year. So it is open now. And in order to be eligible to apply, you must meet the following basic requirements. First being that you are a US citizen, although some exceptions do apply, including those from the UK, New Zealand, Australia, and Canada. You're also encouraged to apply. You must be 18 years of age or older, and by the time the program funding begins, which would be 1 August of 2021, so you must be 18 by that point. You must be able to you must have a GPA of 3.0 on a 4.0 scale and be able to maintain that throughout the entire time you are in the program. Additionally, you must be pursuing one of our 21 STEM disciplines, and we have a slide in a little bit about what specifically those disciplines are and how you fit. Also, you must have the ability to obtain and maintain a security clearance, more information on that as well. And you must have the ability to complete summer internships during the summer months between your school years. And the minimum amount of funding that you can request is a year and a half, meaning that from the time that the award begins in August of 2021, you must have at least a year and a half left of the degree pursuit that you have requested SMART to fund. Another way of putting that is you must have at least a graduation date of fall 2022 or greater. With these basic eligibility requirements met, let's move on to the benefits of the scholarship. All right, so what do you receive as a SMART Scholar? First and foremost, SMART funds full tuition for any accredited university with no cap on tuition for those pursuing bachelor's, master's, or PhDs. There's no cap on tuition, and SMART pays that tuition directly to your university. Now, the length of funding that you request is dependent upon the amount of time that you have left of the degree that you are currently pursuing. For example, let's say you're applying for the SMART program and you're currently a sophomore and you would like for us to pay for the remainder of your bachelor's degree. That would mean you are requesting 2 years worth of SMART funding. Alternatively, let's say you've just completed your degree and you'd like for us to fund a PhD. You can request up to the full 5 years worth of funding to attain that PhD. SMART also provides you with a stipend to live on during your degree pursuit phase. And that stipend is anywhere from $25,000 up to $38,000 dispersed monthly, and that's dependent upon the degree that you're currently pursuing. So we want to be able to provide you with the ability to focus completely on your schoolwork and not have to worry about attaining outside employment to pay your miscellaneous other bills. SMART also provides you with a book allowance and a health insurance allowance annually. And we also provide you with the opportunity to complete internships over the summer months with the DoD facility that selects you for the scholarship. And during those internships, you're going to receive the benefit of mentoring from experienced members of the Department of Defense. And those folks are actually going to be your future employees, or employers and coworkers and mentors and just folks you're going to be spending your time with once you graduate. Best benefit is that you have a guaranteed job with that facility that selected you for the scholarship, and that is where you will serve your service commitment. Speaking of, the SMART service commitment is a one-to-one commitment, meaning that for every year the program funded your degree, you owe 1 year in civilian employment for the Department of Defense. So again, back to our example, if you were funded for 2 years for your bachelor's degree, you will then owe 2 years of employment upon degree completion as a civilian for the Department of Defense. So there are 3 scholarship requirements that I want to highlight before we move on to some statistics about our scholars. Okay. First being the clearance eligibility. Because we are a federal scholarship and part of our scholarship is employment in the Department of Defense, you must be able to obtain and maintain a security clearance throughout the duration of the program and your service commitment. Each facility initiates the clearance themselves once you enter the program. And if you're not familiar with the process, this slide provides the type of information that will be disclosed during the clearance investigation process. Please keep in mind that you must follow all federal laws regarding drug usage, regardless of the state that you live in. Please remember, this is a federal scholarship and federal clearances require you to comply with all federal laws. For more information on clearances, you can contact the Office of Personnel Management, opm.gov, for more information on the security clearance process, or reach out to the facility that selects you if you have any questions regarding the process itself. Next, let's discuss the STEM disciplines. Okay. Here's a list of our 21 STEM disciplines that are eligible for SMART. This list is also available on our website. So keep in mind that these are broad categories. If the major that you are pursuing is not specifically listed here, but falls under one of these disciplines as a general umbrella, you're still eligible to apply for the program. If you're looking at this list and you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't see it directly and I'm not sure where I would fall, feel free to reach out to SMART Help Desk and we will help you determine which of these general umbrellas you best fit under. And finally, a key factor to what makes our scholarship so unique and different from any other scholarship are our sponsoring facilities. These are the folks who will make their selections based on workforce needs and who will sponsor you throughout your time in the program, throughout your internship, through your mentoring period, and for the completion of your service commitment once they hire you upon degree completion. So when you apply to SMART, you're actually applying for a job within the Department of Defense with a particular location. So who are our sponsoring facilities? Well, as you can see, SMART works with 190 different laboratories and agencies that are spread across 40 states. The breakdown of the sites are here, listed here. We work with laboratory sites, the intel community, medical facilities, the Army Corps of Engineers, test and evaluation centers, and other mission supported sites. Our sponsoring facilities are spread across major components of the Army, Navy, Air Force, as well as some other DoD agencies that don't fall under the other components. All of our facilities are listed on the website, and you can search by service if you're interested in the Army, Navy, Air Force, or other DoD. You can also search by state. You can search by what STEM disciplines each of these locations are selecting for. And it's strongly encouraged that you do your research. So spend some time on our website after this webinar and take a look at your STEM discipline, your area, and just start to get to know our facilities. We do have a slide a little bit later on about tips on how to find which one would be right for you. So let's move on to our SMART timeline, what to expect in the next coming weeks and months. So as we said, the application is open now, and now is the time to apply. It is open through the 1st of December. Keep in mind that SMART is a highly competitive scholarship. In the 2020 cycle, we received roughly 2,300 completed applications. We were able to then get those down to a semifinalist round of about 1,800, and from there, 325 scholarships were granted in the 2020 cohort. So highly competitive. This webinar will be addressing how to make your application stand out so that hopefully you can be part of next year's cohort. So after the application closes in December, completed applications are then evaluated by members of the Department of Defense and academia in your specific STEM field. They will be ranked and reviewed. The top 50 to 60% of each discipline will advance to our semifinalist round, and therefore you will be eligible for selection. Now, in the month of February, you will be notified if you do make it to the semifinalist round, so be on the lookout for an email at that time. In the months of February and March, our DoD facilities are going to be reviewing semifinalist applications and making their selections based on their facility needs and the budget that is afforded to them. In April, official award notifications are sent out. Once awards are sent out, students have the option to either accept or decline the award. If the award is accepted, we then send you on a site visit to the facility that selected you for the award in order for you to get to know the general area, meet with your future supervisors, coworkers, meet with other SMART scholars, ask any questions that you may have, and reaffirm your SMART acceptance of the award prior to funding beginning. If you accept the award, thumbs up, great job, and you are now a SMART scholar, and the application cycle begins again. Let's take a look at some of our application data from 2020. Okay. Here we have some award data broken down by discipline and service. As you can see from here, the top 3 STEM disciplines are computer science, mechanical engineering, and electrical engineering. Facilities select from each discipline and based on their needs in any given year. And if you're taking a look at this list and you don't see many selections made from your specific discipline, don't be discouraged by that. This could be due to the fact that there may not have been enough applicants in your major field for facilities to make selections from, or just in that given selection year, they did not have as large of a need as perhaps they would another year. So if you're not selected this year, we highly recommend and encourage you to reapply to the SMART program each year you are eligible to receive funding as the needs of the DoD change. So let's take a look now at what happens when you are selected for a SMART scholarship. Our life cycle. So As I said before, between 300 and 400 scholarships are awarded each year in April. After completing our online orientation and attending that site visit, you say thumbs up. Yes, what a wonderful opportunity. I was selected by an awesome facility. Sign me up, let's get started. You enter into phase 1 in August of each program year. So the new cohort would start in August of 2021. That is what we call our academic pursuit phase. You are now in phase 1. You're going to school, SMART is paying your full tuition, you're receiving your stipends, your security clearance process has begun. During the summer months, you will be attending an internship with the sponsoring facility that selects you. And then upon graduation, you are then hired by your facility and you enter into what we call phase 2, which is your service commitment phase. Now, during phase 2, again, it's that one-to-one commitment. So let's say we funded 2 years worth of your bachelor's degree. You now owe 2 years of employment to the sponsoring facility. So during that time, you're working off the amount of funding that we expended on your behalf. Once you're done with your service commitment, great. You are now entering into what we call phase 3 of our program, which is the post-service commitment phase. You've completed all of your obligations, you're employed at your facility, you now become a SMART alumni, and there are plenty of opportunities to give back to the SMART program in the form of maybe serving on our steering committee, submitting yourself to be highlighted as a SMART success story. You can also give back to the program by becoming an evaluator. You are eligible to review applications and assist in this process for future SMART scholars. And you can, of course, always help out your own facility by mentoring new SMART scholars that come in the door in future cohort years. So a lot of opportunity there for you in phase 3. Important to note here that the SMART program has 91% program success rate, meaning 91% of the over 3,000 scholarships that we've awarded since 2006 have successfully completed the program in its entirety. So we have some great, we're making great connections between our scholars and our facilities for increasing our mission and our vision for the Department of Defense. So speaking of, let's take a look at some of our success stories. Here we have 3 folks that have been highlighted and nominated by their facilities for being stellar superstars. We love to highlight our SMART scholars at different events and on our public website. Check them out. I'll tell you a little bit about each one of them. First, we have Miss Sarah Baisley, who Miss Sarah Baisley is solving the equation for the next generation of battlefield technology at the U.S. Army Combat Capabilities Development Command Armament Center in Picatinny Arsenal, New Jersey. As the lead mathematician, Sarah is instrumental in improving flight path and target simulators. Additionally, her technical abilities have been critical to algorithm learning and data analysis. Next, we have Miss Jocelyn Coleman, who is a STEM advocate, professional, and scholar from Huntsville, Alabama. She is a graduate of Alabama Agricultural and Mechanical University in Normal, Alabama, where she earned her master's degree in computer science in May of 2019. She is currently a cybersecurity computer specialist with the cybersecurity branch of the Systems Engineering Acquisition and Logistics Certification Division at the Marine Corps Systems Command in Quantico, Virginia. And finally, here we have Mr. Brandon McGee, who's a graduate with a bachelor's degree from the North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. Starting as an intern in summer of 2017, Brandon focused efforts on the computerized testing program for the ARN-118 distance generator before becoming a permanent team member in 2018. Brandon currently supports efforts in manufacturing and materials, avionics repair, and engineering of circuits at Warner Robins Air Force Base in Georgia. Whew, stellar folks, and a lot more of these types of success stories on our website. And will you be our next success story? Let's dive into that application and get you one step closer. Okay. As we've been saying, the application is open now and is available on the SMART website. In order to begin your application, you must first register to ensure your initial eligibility. Now, here is what the registration page looks like, some simple information, and reasons why you might not be eligible is either you've listed a GPA that's lower than 3.0, perhaps you don't have US citizenship, or you just maybe didn't click all the right boxes. So once you've completed this step and we've been able to initially determine your eligibility, you will receive an email with login credentials that will take you to the full application. So past this step, you go on to the application portal itself. In our application portal, you'll be able to create an account, and you will then be directed from there to this page. And this page is a snapshot of the portal itself, and you'll be able to track the status of the progress of your application and ensure that you're completing all necessary tasks in order to get that thumbs up, yes, you've submitted a complete application prior to 1 December. So let's just take a look at a couple of these sections that you will need to complete. First being, there's a section here for test scores. We want to make sure that you understand, due to the majority of test centers being closed for COVID-19 reasons, the SMART program decided we are no longer requiring the SAT, ACT, or GRE scores. You may provide them, they are optional to provide, but they will not be factored into your ranking and will not be considered during the evaluation process. So you're free to add them, but they are not a requirement and they will not count for or against you. Next section is for references, which we have a slide on in just a minute, but there are a minimum of 3 references necessary for a completed application, and you can submit up to 5. Here is where you can check the status to ensure that your references are indeed being uploaded and prior to the deadline. And then the begin application section is where the majority of the application is and where we have some helpful tips for you today. So let's take a look at some tips for the application. First, let's talk about your references. Strongly consider asking somebody who knows you personally, somebody who has had some sort of relationship with you in which they have seen you demonstrate your STEM accomplishments and your aptitude for learning. For example, current or former professors or teachers, mentors, colleagues, supervisors. If you've had any internship experience or professional experiences that relate to your STEM field or the DoD, or can speak to, again, your accomplishments or aptitude, we encourage that you ask those supervisors to provide you with reference letters. Another key tip is to let them know that this reference is for a unique opportunity to have not only your education paid for, but then that guaranteed job and all the wonderful work experience you're going to be getting for the Department of Defense. It'll help them kind of cater their reference letters towards our unique and special scholarship and help you stand out just a little bit more. As I said before, a minimum of 3 with a maximum of 5 references that are acceptable. Another area of the application is your proposed area of study. In other words, where will you be and what will you be studying next year? University, STEM discipline, and what's your targeted graduation date? Remember, you must have at least 1.5 years of funding with a graduation date of fall 2022 or greater to be eligible. So when you're thinking about your graduation date, please be realistic and specific to your individual needs. Remember, if you're not sure of which STEM discipline you need, or if you have any questions about your university, feel free to reach out to the Smart Help Desk for assistance with these 2 sections. Next are the essays. Now, there are 2 sections for personal essays within the application itself. One is more directly focusing on your STEM interests and academic and career pursuits, and the other one is an essay about why you want to work for the Department of Defense. So some great questions to ask yourself and to be answering within your personal essays include, what are your personal and professional goals? What aspects of STEM do you want to explore? What inspired you to go into your STEM field? Do you have any work experience, leadership experience, teamwork experience that might highlight or showcase your interests and your strengths? Have you done any community service or volunteer work that leverages your strengths for a higher mission? What interests you about the Department of Defense? Do you have any personal experience with the Department of Defense, internships, family members? Or in what ways could your research make a strong impact on the mission of the Department of Defense? So I highly encourage you to spend some time thinking about these questions and take the time to draft out your response prior to submitting your essays. The evaluators are looking at these sections in particular to see what your strengths are and your potential future success within the Department of Defense. So finally, one more tip before we wrap it up. Remember that while this is an application for a scholarship, it is also an application for a job. The sponsoring facility that selects you will be where you build your foundational job experience during your internships, and it's where you're going to be fulfilling your service commitment upon graduation. So the facility preference section is key. you will have the ability to list up to 3 top preferences of specific facilities. And also you'll have the ability to list 3 top geographic locations. Let's say you want to stay in a generalized area. That's a portion of the application that you really want to spend some time thinking about and researching, getting interested in the facilities, finding out what it is they do, and seeing which one would match best with you. Now, keep in mind, there's no guarantee that you will be selected by your preferred facility, but this process helps ensure that the scholar and the facility are well matched. So if you do have a very specific facility you're interested in working for, please do list them as one of your preferences. It helps our facilities also know who is interested in them. Remember, they're going to have upwards of 1,800 applications to sift through in about a 6-week period to determine who they would like to interview and possibly select. So the more that you can draw their attention towards you and you towards them, vice versa, the better. So I also want to note that even if you don't list a specific facility, you are visible to all facilities. So facilities, when they go into the selection portal, they can sort by your specific STEM discipline. They can sort by if you're interested in their geographic area, or like I said, in their specific location. So it helps us in our facilities make really great connections and selections. So in order to list your preferences, we highly encourage you to do your research. When you log into the SMART website and look under our sponsoring facility section, you'll see that there is a component liaison, such as myself, for each of our components: Naval, Air Force, Army, and other DoD. If there is a specific facility that you're really interested in and you just want to get more information about them, or perhaps you're not sure where to start, but you know generally, hey, I want to stay in the Southern California area, and I see that there are Navy and Air Force out there, I'm going to reach out to those liaisons and see if the interests that I have are going to be in alignment with those facilities, or if I'm looking in the wrong spot. So encourage you to reach out to those liaisons, to reach out to the facilities directly. On our website, we have links to each of their individual websites. You can reach out to their HR departments. You can reach out to their public affairs departments. If you're not sure if the website is maybe a little confusing about what their missions are, reach out to them directly and ask pointed and specific questions. It's always a good idea to network with them, network with our program, and truly make a good decision for where you would like to be enlist as your preferences on our application. So and that concludes our presentation today. I wanted to encourage you all to connect with us on social media. For more details on and application tips, to see this video, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have some videos there that have more information. We will also be having another SMART webinar. The SMART program webinar will be on September 16th. 2020 at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you're interested in attending this webinar, go ahead and log on to our website, www.smartscholarship.org, to get more information and to register for that next webinar. So while you're there on our SMART website, go ahead and check out those SMART success stories. We highlight scholars often. So if you would like to take a look at the types of folks that have been selected in the past, what they were studying, and where they ended up being sponsored by, it's another great resource for you to start to get to know our facilities and what they do. So this concludes my section. I'm going to go ahead and toss it back to Greg, and we'll invite Dima on, and we'll go ahead and get some of these questions answered for you.
Well, fantastic. Thank you, Alexis. That was very thorough. So we, as Alexis mentioned, we'd like to start with our formal Q&A portion of our session. Just a reminder, Dima is helping, and she is our communications specialist. So again, just go ahead and use that Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. We do have quite a few attendees here today, and we have a number of questions. So if for whatever reason we're not able to answer your question here this afternoon, feel free to reach out to us at smart@smartscholarship.org. Again, that is smart@smartscholarship.org if we do not have an opportunity to answer your question here this afternoon. All right, with that being said, let me dive right in. Looks like we have a couple of questions here about post-graduation commitment. Alexis, did you want to take that one?
Sure. Is there a specific question?
Yeah. How
The
long
length
is
of
the
commitment?
post-graduation
There we
commitment?
go. That's what I thought. That's what I thought I heard. So again, SMART funds from 1.5 years up to 5 years worth of funding, and our commitment is a one-to-one commitment. So if we funded 2 years of your degree completion, you then owe 2 years in the form of employment with the DoD lab that selects you, all the way up to 5. So that is our one-to-one commitment.
Okay, thank you. The next question that we have, and actually we have a few similar questions here about being a high school senior. So the specific question is, I am a senior in high school. Am I eligible to apply to SMART? Dima, would you mind answering that one?
Yeah, sure. So in order to apply to the SMART program and to be eligible, we do require that undergraduate applicants are enrolled in a regionally accredited university or college, and they must be able to provide a fall 2020 college transcript. So high school students with no college level course experience are not eligible to apply. And for those who are undergraduate freshmen, and you might get your fall transcripts after the December 1st deadline, you can upload your high school transcripts into the application, and we will be reaching out to all applicants after the deadline and after the application closes to get that fall 2020 college transcript.
Okay, thank you. The next question we have is from Sydney. Sydney asks, can we change our major in college if the major is still one of the SMART disciplines?
I can take that one, Greg. So when your facility makes a selection is because they are expecting you to be able to obtain that specific STEM discipline. However, we understand that sometimes interests change, especially if you're a bachelor's student. You might say, was computer science, now I'm a little bit more in the computer engineering, electrical engineering side of things. So what you could do is you may ask the program and ask your sponsoring facility through our program if it's okay to change that discipline. If your facility is on board with it and it doesn't impact any other aspects of your award, you can request to make that change. Again, it requires authorization from our SMART program and the support of the sponsoring facility, because again, they selected you for a specific degree, but occasionally, especially if you're a bachelor student, they could possibly be able to take you in other capacities. So yes, with caveats.
Thank you. It looks like we have another question that's about, someone asks, the program I am going into requires one summer field course. Will I be able to work longer summer internships to make up for the one summer that I will be in an isolated field course?
Okay.
I can take that one, or
Sure.
did you want to?
Sure.
So for summer internships, they do range between 8 to 12 weeks. If you did want to extend those internships, you'd have to discuss that with your facility if you were offered an award. Just note that for any additional payments for internship support, the cutoff is 12 weeks basically. If you do have courses that you're required to take over the summer months, you can reach out to the program, to your scholar coordinator, or to your liaison specifically, and we'll work with you to figure out the best way forward. Alexis, I don't know if you had any additional comments on that.
No, you know, this question sometimes comes concurrent with if I have a co-op or another aspect of my university's requirements for the degree that I'm completing, that I do an internship. Sometimes the SMART program's internship can coincide and count as a co-op. So great question, and if we didn't address it here, feel free to follow up with your question to the SMART box.
Thank you. The next question that we have asks, can you apply to the SMART scholarship multiple times?
Yeah. Well, yes. So if you apply once this year, and let's say for some reason you weren't selected, we do encourage you to apply every year that you are eligible. So if you're coming up on the end of your bachelor's degree, and let's say, I only have a year left worth of schooling, obviously you would not be eligible then for this next year unless you wanted to pursue a master's degree after you're done. You can reapply to the SMART program at that time as well. Dima, want to add anything to that on follow-ons maybe?
No, that's it. I mean, you can apply to the program as many times as you want, as long as you're eligible.
All right, thank you. Haley asks, I have 2 to 2.5 years left of my PhD. Will I still be eligible to apply to the SMART program?
Yes. So our cutoff again is that 1.5 years. And for PhD students particularly, it's a little difficult sometimes to gauge because once your post-quals, the remainder of your degree is writing and your dissertation defense. So when you're applying to the SMART program, think of your timeline, meet with an advisor, come up with a very realistic plan of how much time you have left. And if there is ever a need to, let's say, increase your award, again, same process with the question on, can I change my degree? You can request additional time if need be. Remember, our program funding is from 1.5 years up to 5 years worth of funding. So ballpark it, give it the best estimate that you have, apply for the SMART program, must have at least 1.5 years and up to 5 years worth of that funding.
Okay. We have another attendee that has asked, during the one-to-one employment, are employees paid for their services?
Yes. So when you are hired by your sponsoring facility, you are their employee. You receive your full salary, benefits, every benefit that there is about being an employee with the Department of Defense is yours, and your employment serves as your commitment. That is the way you serve back your commitment. So that should answer that.
Okay. Brittany asks, can college freshmen apply now using their high school GPA? And it looks like we've had a few questions around that.
Yes, definitely. We definitely encourage freshmen to apply. And as you mentioned, you can put your high school GPA for the time being. And once you do have your fall 2020 college transcripts, we will be requesting those of you as well.
Great, thank you. Someone also asked, are summer internships every summer of the award?
Yeah. So every summer period where the award crosses from a spring to a fall term, you are required to attend an 8 to 12 week long internship with your sponsoring facility. So let's say we're funding 3 years worth of a degree, you would be completing 2 internships.
Thanks, Alexis.
Mm-hmm.
Question from Karen. Are there campus representatives that oversee the application process / portal? If so, how does a university set that up with SMART?
So when the application period closes, we do have a panel that consists of academia and DoD personnel that go through and evaluate the first round of applications. Our panelist registration, I believe, opens in September. So for anyone who is a professor and interested in participating as a panelist in the program, the registration should be up on our website sometime in September.
Thank you. A lot of questions surrounding test scores, SATs, GREs, it looks like. So I'm going to read one specific question, but there's quite a few questions here surrounding this. This is what our attendee asks. For the SAT, will that be required after this year, or is this allowed for future years?
Well, our current guidance right now is that SATs, ACTs, and GREs are no longer part of our requirement. Again, this year, particularly because due to COVID-19. Dima, any additional?
No, that's it. I mean, there's still the option to put your SAT scores in the application. So if you've already started your application, you might see that there is a test score section. But again, those are just optional. We understand that there's an impact with testing capabilities this year. So we've made those optional and they will in no way impact your application.
Right. Neither for nor against.
Right.
Great. Thank you. That actually answers a few questions. Stephanie asks, if 5 reference letters are provided, will all 5 be considered, or will only the top 3 be considered?
Typically, it's just the top 3 that are considered. So we do ask that they are ranked in the application. But if you have all letters in your application package, they'll probably be included during the evaluation and selections as well.
Thank you. All right, next question from Raul. He asks, are there caps in tuition costs? Private universities versus state universities costs vary greatly. So again, are there caps in tuition costs?
There's no cap on tuition, so you can go to any regionally accredited college or university.
We'll also go ahead and say that you can apply undecided for those who maybe you've just wrapped up a bachelor's degree and you have option, you're choosing between 2 universities, you're not quite sure. You can still apply to the SMART program and list undecided. We would encourage you though to describe in your essays what it is you are going to be researching. If you indeed don't have yet the university selected, you can be selected and awarded a SMART scholarship as undecided, and at that point you can choose whichever of the 2 or 3 that you are choosing between, but you must have that academic institution declared by 1 August of 2021. So you can apply now undecided, but you got to make sure you have a school by August of 2021.
Sure, appreciate that.
Yep.
Next question here we have is asking about, so they, our attendee asks or mentions that the minimum age is 18. Is there an upper age limit?
Nope, no age limit. You just have to be 18 or older by August 1st of 2021 for this current program cycle.
All right. Next question from our attendee asks, states and then asks, I was a semifinalist previously. Should I notate that on my application?
You can. You absolutely can, because again, our selection process is very competitive. If you mention that, hey, I've applied for SMART in the past and I was a semifinalist, I hope to make it again to the semifinalist level and on to selections this year.
Sure. Okay. Next question here asks, do you get paid when fulfilling your years with the DoD? And actually there's a few questions around benefits in general and pay after. So if you could just expound upon that topic a little bit, that'd be appreciated.
So like with any job situation, when you are hired, you're compensated based on your degree level and your experiences. Each individual component facility will follows a GS or follows a pay scale that you can ask them directly when you are researching your facilities. If you would like to know, hey, general ballpark, what can I expect with regards to salary, locality, things like that, then feel free to ask those questions directly of the facility. The SMART program does not get involved with negotiating salaries or anything like that, but highly encourage you to discuss that with the facility, either while you're doing your research, or if you are awarded a SMART scholarship, you have that ability to discuss with human resources during your site visit. So good question to ask, the specifics of the specific facility.
Yeah, fantastic, Alexis. I appreciate that. Just as a reminder, if folks, before they drop off, if you do have to drop off and you haven't had an opportunity to have your question answered this afternoon, just a friendly reminder, you could always reach out to smart@smartscholarship.org. Again, smart@smartscholarship.org for additional follow-on questions. So with that being said, our next question is from Karen. And Karen asks, is it better to target one specific facility, or is it more likely to make a connection by targeting one specific facility, or is leaving it open just as effective? So I'll read that again. Is it better to target one specific facility, or is it more likely to make a connection by targeting one specific facility, or is leaving it open just as effective?
Sure. It all depends on what your career and professional goals are. If there is a sponsoring facility that it is your dream to work for this facility, I do highly recommend you put them as your #1 preference, just to indicate to that facility that, hey, I'm very interested in you. But let's say you're not sure. You have a general idea of what it is you want to do. You can work with the SMART program through the component liaison to help you narrow down. But again, this is all your preference. And I will say this too, that if you do put a preference, it does not guarantee that that will be your sponsoring facility, and vice versa. Just because you don't put a facility down, remember, you're visible to all of our 190 sponsoring facilities when you make it to this semifinalist portal. So even if you're not putting 1, 2, and 3, you could have any one of our facilities that are interested in you based on them finding you based on, again, your STEM discipline or your geographic preferences. So that being said, it really does depend on your preferences and what you're looking for. So I'll repeat, if you do have a specific facility or top 1, 2, 3, put them on your application itself. It helps our facilities let them know, ooh, pick me, I'm very interested in you. So I hope that
Yeah,
answered the question.
and just as a reminder to everyone, I know we mentioned this before, but you can filter all of our facilities on our website by STEM discipline, by component, and by state. So that kind of will help through your research to kind of narrow things down, if you have specific interests and, you know, facilities in the area, in DC or in Alabama, wherever it might be that you have an interest in, or if it's a specific STEM discipline, all that information is located on our website.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I will say this too about sponsoring facilities while we're on the topic. They provide the program with information about what STEM disciplines they are most likely to make selections with. So just because there are 21 STEM disciplines does not mean that every facility can take those STEM disciplines. So that, as Dima mentioned, we have that sorting feature on our website where you can say, you know, I'm a chemical engineer. How many of these selecting facilities are more likely to be selecting chemical engineers? And you'll see that list is going to be much smaller than, let's say, I'm a computer scientist. Guess what? All of them want computer scientists. So what type of computer science are you interested in? Are you a cybersecurity person? Are you more in like engineering side, computer engineering side? Which again, reach out to the component liaisons we'll point you in the right direction.
Thank you. So Heather asks, and this is another question a number of folks have asked as follow-on questions after the initial GPA question here. What if you do not have a GPA for graduate program yet? Provide bachelor, so it sounds like she's asking, if you do not have a GPA for a graduate program yet, should she provide the bachelor's GPA for the application in this particular instance?
Yes. So applying for grad school, just put in your most recent GPA. So if that's your bachelor's, then go ahead and put that in. Because we understand that, you know, since you're applying to graduate school, you won't necessarily be enrolled just yet, and you'll probably be starting your program next year. So that's perfectly fine to do. And then you'd want to upload your unofficial transcripts as well for your bachelor's degree.
Okay, thank you. I'm filtering through a number of questions here. Give me just a moment.
These are great questions, by the way.
Yeah, they are.
Really hitting on some good specifics here. Mm-hmm.
So again, it looks like some salary-based questions here. So we've gotten through some of those. Oh, here's one. Can international students participate in this program?
Sure. Well, Dima, you want to take this one?
So in order to apply, you do need to be a U.S. citizen. There are a few exceptions that apply. So I believe you can be a citizen of the UK, Canada, New Zealand. I believe
Australia.
And Australia, yes,
Australia.
sorry. And Australia. So those are the exceptions, but for security clearance purposes, we do require that you are a U.S. citizen with those exceptions.
Right. And we'll say that the majority of our sponsoring facilities do require, but not all of them. So there is the opportunity that if you are from the US or one of these TTCP countries, that you could be selected for a SMART scholarship. So we do encourage you to apply.
All right. Would one of you kindly please just go back through and reiterate some more details on the summer internship? We have another question specifically. Is the internship 1 summer per year of award or 1 summer total? If you could just kind of give an overview on summer internships again, I think that would be great.
Sure. So it is a programmatic requirement that each summer that the award crosses a summer period, that you are to attend an 8 to 12 week long internship, and that the duration of the internship is determined between the sponsoring facility and yourself. But it's 8 to 12 weeks is our requirement. It is a requirement for every summer that the award crosses a summer period. So again, let's give an example. Let's say you're a 5-year PhD student. Every summer, we are requiring that you attend an internship with your facility. It would be really great if you are in that situation that your PhD is in alignment with the sponsoring facility, and that way you could utilize the research capabilities and the laboratories that the facility has to piggyback off of the research that you're doing. But yes, it is a requirement, and it is our expectation that you complete all of your internships that are required. In the event of, let's say there is a course that you absolutely must take during a summer period, there is the possibility to waive an internship. However, that is very much discouraged unless it is absolutely necessary and cannot be taken another time. Again, because our internships are 8 to 12 weeks, sometimes you can do that in concurrence with the internship, but no, it is a requirement. And the reason why it's a requirement, which is also the reason why we went from 1 year's worth of funding to 1.5 years, is to ensure that you do at least one internship with your facility prior to graduation. That way your facility has the ability to work with you, to mentor you, to find out where your individual strengths are, so that, you know, let's say you're selected to work in a particular code, but really your strengths would be better off in another code. They have the ability to assess that during the internship period and get you in the place where you're going to be most effective and most happy with your educational and career goals. So if you're not completing that internship, there's you know, it makes it a little bit more difficult for that workforce development element to be implemented. So we fully expect you to attend the internships. You're getting to know your future supervisors, your coworkers, you're meeting with other smart scholars. It's a great time to really acclimate yourself to the work that you will be doing during your post-graduation commitment. And then when you do graduate, you're hitting the ground running with all of those folks that you spend all of the time with during your internships, and really developing your talents with. So I hope that, Dima, anything additional?
No, that was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, very, very thorough. I appreciate that. Next question here asks, could we stay longer than our required commitment? So in other words, it sounds like after the commitment is.
Of course you can. You can stay as long as you want. This is so SMART is a workforce development program, and it gets you in the door to start your career as a research scientist or engineer with the Department of Defense. You know, the whole goal of our program is that you want to stay a lifelong employee of the DoD. So once your commitment's done, of course you're welcome to stay and grow your career within the DoD, within your sponsoring facility, or other facilities within the DoD. So yes. And we have great success rates currently with our phase 3 scholars staying longer than their commitment.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Next question here we have from Eric. Eric asks, how closely do reviewers look at resumes?
I'll let Dina take that one.
So reviewers are really looking at everything on your application. So there's no one specific section that is looked at more closely than others. They're really looking for a well-rounded applicant. So that means the essays, you know, the proposed area of study section to see what you're looking to pursue, the resume, a lot of different things on your application. So you know, again, if you're a freshman and you don't have a lot of experience compared to maybe a PhD student or someone who used to work at one of the DoD sponsoring facilities, just keep in mind that you're going to be evaluated based on people in your own degree levels and STEM disciplines. So don't let that discourage you.
Thanks, Dima. Before I ask the question from Kelsey, we do have another question from Miracle. Miracle asks, will we have access to the presentation and recording? And the answer is yes, we will put that out on our website here in about a week. Okay, so make sure you go back to www.smartscholarship.org to be sure to check that out. And again, if you have questions that do not get answered today, smart@smartscholarship.org. Question from Kelsey asks, would you say each branch has their own distinct work culture? If so, could you give us an idea of what branch or what each branch is like?
Oh goodness. Well, with 190 different sponsoring facilities, each facility has its own unique work culture, but we are all Department of Defense. We are all a very teamwork oriented environment, very much STEM environments where we're encouraging, you know, education and, you know, cutting edge technologies, environments where it is, again, encouraged for you to be really a part of a team in a larger mission. And that is something that you can, if there is a specific facility that you're interested in, again, network with the liaison. We can help you with the individual mission of each facility. You can check out on our website. We give the facilities the ability to list and describe for you what it would be like to work for them. So we encourage you to check that out. And also, yeah, again, networking with the facilities to ask them more specific questions about their work environment and what they do to help you become part of and acclimate to their family environment.
Thanks, Alexis. Next question we have asks, are smart scholars allowed to go study abroad during the regular semester?
Dima, you can take that.
Yes, so as long as the coursework that you'll be doing during your study abroad program is in line with your degree pursuit, and as long as it doesn't cause any delays in the length of your award or your graduation, and of course, as long as the program and your facility signs off on it, there are no issues with study abroad programs.
Thank you.
Yep, and just to keep an eye on your GPA as well. If you do take study abroad courses, that GPA does factor into your overall cumulative GPA, and so just keep that in mind.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm just filtering through a couple of additional questions here. Are mentors assigned, Taya asks, are mentors assigned before or after receiving the scholarship in April?
Well, so
great question.
That's an excellent question. So with our selection process, we task our facilities with conducting interviews prior to them making the selection itself. So during the semifinalist timeframe, if they are interested in you or interested in possibly adding you to their selection list, again, it's not a guarantee of an award, but that would be hopefully being conducted by the codes and the engineering scientists, researchers who would be making you as a selection. So you might get a little taste of that prior to the award itself. But definitely, if you are awarded a SMART scholarship and you are attending a SMART site visit, you will be matched up and meeting with your future supervisors, your future mentors. Former SMART scholars are another avenue that our facilities use to mentor their new SMART scholars. So by the time of the site visit, you will have a greater idea of who will be your supervisor and mentor. And then from there, the facilities will continue to work with you, mentors reaching out to you throughout your academic pursuits, coordinating your internships with you, and then working one-on-one with you during your 8 to 12 week long internship. So you might get a little taste of it during the interview process prior to an award, but most definitely if you are awarded a SMART scholarship during that site visit, would be a great time to, hey, let me meet my mentor, let's get this ball rolling, and let me ask questions of this person. So.
All right, next question we have asks, is the scholarship, excuse me, does the scholarship need to be renewed or applied for every year once selected? So it sounds like they're asking, do you have to reapply for the SMART scholarship each year?
No, you don't. I mean, once you apply for the remainder of your degree, or whether it's to pursue a graduate, master's or PhD, it's just that one-time application. If you're awarded, then you'll just, you don't need to reapply for the internships. You don't need to reapply for the post-graduation employment. It's kind of an all-in-one package deal.
Right. So on the application, you are estimating how much time you anticipate needing to complete the degree that either you're currently pursuing, or like Dima just said, if you're starting a new degree, a graduate program, up to 5 years worth of funding. So take a really close look at during the applications process, talk with an advisor. Hey, I'm thinking, do I need 3 years? Do I need 4 years to complete this PhD? What's your opinion? And make sure that your application correctly reflects that. That way, when you are awarded it, there's no changes that need to be made. That is the award, and you don't have to reapply every year.
Right, thanks. Looks like we have time for a couple of more questions. So the first one we have, can you still apply for a SMART scholarship if you received a scholarship for a bachelor's and want to obtain a master's? Again, can you still apply for, so can you still apply for a SMART scholarship if you received a scholarship for a bachelor's and want to obtain a master's?
So if you received a SMART scholarship for your bachelor's?
We can answer it both ways. We can say, so yeah. if somebody did, great, you're a SMART scholar and you want to apply for more, you can always reapply to the SMART program for additional education. We call that a follow-on award. There are some ins and outs of that. So if you are listening right now as a current SMART scholar interested in pursuing another degree with us, please do reach out to your scholar coordinator. But if you have, let's say, another scholarship, a different scholarship that is currently funding a bachelor's degree, and if you want to apply to SMART as well, just keep in mind that if you're receiving a tuition assistance type of scholarship, that would just then remove the amount of funding that SMART would have to pay for that scholarship. So yes, you can be accepting other scholarship funding. We would just need to check to see if that is in any conflict with our federal funding, or let you know sort of what to expect if that is the situation that you're in. Anything extra on that, Dima?
No, I think that's it. And if you have
Great.
specific questions, I mean, feel free to email us at the smartscholarship.org email address.
Yep.
Thanks. It looks like we have time for just enough time for one final question. Our user asks or mentions, I'm looking to go into ROTC, but do not need to commit until next year, August of 2021, for active duty. Can I still apply?
So you cannot be in active duty at this time and be on your SMART scholarship. If you are a reservist, you can apply to the SMART program and be accepted into the program. And let's say during your course of either phase 1 or phase 2, you get called up for active duty, we would place you on a leave of absence in that situation. So if you are a reservist, yes. If you are going to be active duty, then no. At this time, we do not have that as part of our policies or procedures.
All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate everybody's attendance here this afternoon over the course of our application information webinar. Just a friendly reminder, please follow us on social media. Our handles are down below. We'll leave this slide up for a moment. Again, questions to smart@smartscholarship.org. Feel free to join us and we highly encourage you to join us for our upcoming SMART program webinar on the 16th of September. And as always, please check out our website. With that being said, have a terrific afternoon, and we look forward to hearing from you.